Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Detail Rag Podcast. We are at episode 52 with Mr. Scott Drummond from Showcase Mobile Detailing in Gilbert, Arizona. Scott, welcome. How are you?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me, Brian. I really appreciate you having me on. It's been a long time, coming. I love doing stuff like this. I love talking to fellow detailers. I love talking detailing. So this is great. And I love that you're on a different part of the country, so I can get a little bit of a flavor of what goes on in your neck of the woods, and I can tell you what goes on in my neck of the woods. So this is great. Perfect. I love it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I love it. No, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. So ladies and gentlemen, for you guys listening, Scott is in Gilbert, Arizona. I'm going to let him talk about his story and kind of where he came from and everything. But before we get started, I do want to mention that Scott is on a radio show called bumper-to-bumper radio.com, correct?
That is correct.
And you share that with another detailer?
Another good friend of mine, Marcus Morton, who's the owner of Pit Stop Auto Detailing. We, although we're savage enemies and competitors, we've decided to become best friends. And so we actually have been really good friends for a long time. And so we partnered up with Bumper to Bumper. It's on a local news talk radio show here every Saturday from, I think it's like 11 to, it's about an hour. And Marcus and I have been on probably 2 or 3, 4 times, a handful of times. And it's basically a show about car maintenance. And so I had reached out to them saying, people, when you think of maintenance, is oil changes, brake jobs and stuff, but also being a detailer, as you know, part of the maintenance of your vehicle is keeping it nice and clean and shiny and protecting it from, in your neck of the woods, the salt and the snow. In my neck of the woods, well, we have Flagstaff, but salt and snow and the harsh temperature. So we just called them up and said, hey, would you guys be interested in having some detailers on talking about cleaning cars and stuff? And their biggest thing was, we can't find a detailer that's been in business as long as you guys have been in business. They always flake out. So they did their research. They vetted both me and Marcus, and we passed the test. So yeah, we've been on for the past 6 months about 4 or 5 times now. It's a lot of fun. We enjoy it.
Sweet, that sounds awesome. And so again, it's bumper-to-bumper-radio.com. If you guys are looking for something else to listen to, check out Scott and Marcus. Scott, start a little bit about back in the day, how did detailing come about for you? First of all, how long have you been detailing?
Professionally since 2007.
Okay. So how did all this come about for you?
So it all started, I'm from Connecticut, and my father was an outside sales rep, and he was very anal with his vehicle. Always washed it every Saturday, waxed it every month or something. And I went out in the driveway one day, and he had a thing of turtle wax. And he was polishing his fender and wiping it off, and it was shiny. And I was like, hey, that looks like fun. What are you doing there? And he said, well, I'm waxing my car. Do you want to try to wax? I'll show you how to do it. So he showed me, and it just something stuck with me. I don't know, like putting on a paste, having it cure and dry, and then wiping it with a towel, and it's shinier than before. The before and after just blew my mind. I was like, this is great. So I was like, can I do this to my bicycle? And he said, you can do it to anything that's painted. So we basically had the cleanest bicycles, me and my sister, and the cleanest lawnmowers in the neighborhood back in the 80s. And then I went out and told my friends I'll polish their bike for, a pack of gum. And then I just started asking neighbors. I put flyers. I had my dad make copies at his office, and I put flyers in, $50 for me to come to your driveway and I'll wash your car. Back then, obviously, I didn't know what the heck I was doing as far as detailing, but I thought I was detailing cars. And I would wash and clean the rims and vacuum and stuff like that, and do the turtle wax. So it started back probably when I was about 8 years old. And then when I went to college, I went to UConn in Connecticut for beer money. Of course, you always need beer when you're in college. That's the number one thing. Besides the education, of course, but my most important thing was I needed beer. So I went around to dealerships. I bought a buffer and just asked them, hey, do you guys need cars buffed out or detailed? And I think I charged dealerships like $50 to $100 just to buff out cars that were sitting on the lot. And I did that 1 or 2 days out of the week. I did all my roommates, my floor mates' cars. They loved it. And then I moved out here. I lived in Long Island for 10 years. I was an outside sales rep for FedEx, had enough of Long Island, New York. Ended up moving out to Phoenix. Worked in the legal industry for 7 years, and just had enough of that. It was very stressful. And it never really, there's no weather in Phoenix. Obviously, today I'm lying because we have rain today, but it never rains. And it's a good area to do detailing because you don't have to deal with snowy days and rescheduling people. The thing that we have to deal with is in the summertime, it's extremely hot, which we work around reluctantly, but we work around it. But in 2007, I decided to open up my own mobile detailing business. I went and bought a trailer, and actually there was another detailer, and they're still in business too, Air Park Auto Detailing. They, great friends of mine, Vern is the owner there. They also put together these detailing vans for people, and they put a generator, water tank, pressure washer, everything you need, a rotary buffer, and back then there wasn't a dual action buffer, rotary and orbital, all the polishes and waxes, and you paid them a certain amount, and they would train you for 2 weeks. And the thing I liked about this was, because you're so new at detailing, they always said, if you screw somebody's car up, if you burn a hole in their hood with the buffer, call us up, bring the car by, we'll fix it, we'll help you. We'll help you.
Nice.
So I bought the trailer, was trained by them for a couple of weeks, and because I was in the legal industry, I already had a mini book of business because I had attorneys I would call on, and attorneys make a lot of money, they drive really nice cars, and they don't have time to wash their cars. So as I was transitioning out of that industry into my detailing business, I asked all of these attorneys, would you be interested in me coming down on a weekly basis or whatever to wash your cars? So I sort of had a mini book of business to start my little business, because it's always hard just because you get a phone number and a website. Doesn't mean the phone's going to ring. It doesn't mean you're going to get an email. And I'm an outside sales guy anyway. So when I was slow, I would start hitting up dealerships. And then we have spring training that comes out here every year. The baseball teams come out. And a lot of these baseball players, they like to drive their own vehicles. They don't like to rent vehicles. So they will pay extra money to have their Maserati shipped out. And it's usually California teams, Colorado teams. So they're not coming from New York or Florida per se or anything like that. But They have their cars shipped out. And it was a rainy day just like it is today. And the first call I made was the Anaheim Angels. And I said, hey, I don't know if you need a guy, but we're mobile. We can come wash their cars. And I thought the guy was like, yeah, whatever, dude. 2 minutes later, the equipment manager called me. He said, my gosh, we've been looking for a guy. So it started with the Angels, then I picked up the Cubs, then I picked up the Giants, then I just picked up a bunch of teams. So it just slowly grew from word of mouth, me going out and selling. When I started the business, I did go to dealerships and stuff, but what I learned quickly is dealerships want a $400 detail for $50 because they need to make money on the car, so I stopped doing dealerships. So Then everything transitioned to online, and I knew this as a sales rep anyway, nobody wants to talk to a sales guy. I don't like talking to salespeople. So now everything's online. So I started advertising on Yelp, and then we just became a while ago, I think we're the highest rated detailing company in Arizona on Yelp. And so we get a lot of leads through Yelp. Everything's online now, of course, as you know, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook.
Right.
Which also drives me crazy, which we talked about. I won't go into that, but so everything is online. And so I've gone from me, a truck and a trailer, to we now have a shop in Gilbert, and I've got 3 mobile units that go out every day to visit the customer. And basically my shop is for my guys to fill up with supplies. We use reverse osmosis water because out here in Arizona, the water is atrocious that comes out of your spigot. So we bring pure drinking water basically to wash people's cars. And I mainly, besides managing the business, I'll probably do 1 or 2 higher end details at my shop, like a ceramic coating or something like that. So it's been a process, a slow process of growing to where I'm at now. We'll see if I want a 4th or 5th truck. It's just, when you start getting more money, more problems, you know what I mean? So, so it's been going really well since 2007. So that's how it all started.
Let me back up just a little bit, and I want you to share a little bit more about the first of all, you're an outside sales rep. You've got sales experience, right?
Yep.
To me, it seems like going into that area of baseball teams was very niche or niche, however you want to say it, right?
Sure.
And so from your perspective, what do you think someone needs to me, that's kind of like thinking outside the box, right? That's not something I don't think people would normally think about. How that all come about for you? What triggered that thought process?
So my supplier I go to on a weekly basis is right next to Tempe Diablo Stadium, where the Angels play in the month of March for spring training. And about a month, like right now, I think all the pitchers and catchers are in town, but right now when you drive by, you can start seeing, they go soup to nuts with these guys. They set up these big tents with cafeteria, and I'm driving by the parking lot when I go to my supplier, and I just see all the setup that's going on there, So it was a rainy day, and I just thought, these guys, because we do other sports players' vehicles as well. They have classics. They've got Rolls Royces, they've got, you name it, they've got it. And they're just, the one thing they love is their cars. They love their cars. And so I just, as a fluke, was like, I wonder if they want their cars washed while they're here for the month. And so I just started with the Angels, and I just called the front office. I didn't even have a phone number to call. And I said, hey, my name's Scott Drummond. I own a detailing business in Phoenix, right next to the stadium. I don't know if anybody on the team, when they come out, wants their car cleaned. But I just said, if you're looking for somebody, give me a call. And I think timing had a lot to do with it, because I think they, a lot of detailers, they just don't last. They don't make it, and they flake out. And they must have just had a guy that flaked out on them in the middle of last year. And so, not kidding, the equipment manager, my phone was ringing. I'm not kidding, like 3 minutes later, like, holy smoke. So it was just me driving by the stadium going, these guys, sports players, they love their cars. And they must, even rentals, like they'll pay, if they're in a rental, a Tahoe, they want it clean, because you got to look pretty when you go to the restaurant. You know what I mean? You got to look pretty when you're showing up to the other stadium. So, and we do not only that, like a lot of the coaches don't bring their coaches are older, like my age and older. They don't have nice, they don't care about their car, how they look. They usually just rent a Tahoe or something like that. We're even doing the coaches' Tahoes. We've done the team, like little vans that they drive around. So we do it all. It was just me driving by the stadium thinking these guys must need to get their cars cleaned. And it worked out well. And then obviously that equipment manager told the Cubs equipment manager, and it just kind of all went around, and we started servicing all the teams. Now, after COVID and stuff, that's kind of fizzled out, because they didn't come into town one year, and the equipment managers change. And nothing against professional athletes, they're fantastic, but they also think the world revolves around them. And it's like, hey, here's my keys. I'm about to get on. I'm going to go do batting practice. I need my car washed in 12 minutes, and then I'll come pick it up. And it's like, dude, I've got 8 other cars here that we've got to wash. I'll start on your car, but 12 minutes is me wetting it down and maybe soaping it out. I don't have time to do that. But on the flip side, my guys love it, because they tip like $100 a car, and my guys keep all the tips. I don't touch any of the tips. So, they're really generous and stuff like that. So that's how it started. Honestly, just me driving by the stadium going, they must have something that needs to be washed. We've washed their golf carts. I mean, we just, because what they do is they set up a day. Hey, we have a home game on Tuesday. They give me their schedule. Let's plan each week, and we get there like at 6:30. Excuse me, and just set up for the day till about noon, 1 o'clock, and just wash all their cars. So It was kind of a fluke, but it was just me driving by the stadium thinking, I wonder if they need their cars.
You've got the shop and 3 vans, right?
3 vans. Yep.
3 vans. What is along the way for you as far as the business end of it? The detailing end of it, we kind of all do our own thing, and we kind of know where we're going. But the business end of it, what's one of the biggest struggles that you've had to overcome that somebody might be able to learn from?
More recently than anything is my ignorance when it comes to technology, my ignorance when it does come to TikTok, my ignorance when it comes to Instagram and Facebook. I do post on these platforms, but I am not savvy where I can, play the song I want to play, have the little sparklies happen when they're supposed to happen, and the other hard part is it's kind of, you need somebody to be filming you while you're in action. And my wife is fantastic, but she's busy as well. So, she went out and bought me like the phone holder, but the biggest struggle is obviously on all the social media. That's my hardest thing right now, is trying to post videos that are interesting, that because once you put your phone on a holder, you're just staring at my back and my butt, leaning in and vacuuming a car. You know what I mean? Like I need it attached to my head so you can see the before and after. And lighting is difficult too in my shop. I don't have all the big time lights that I need. I'm in the process of getting those, but that's my biggest struggle right now, is competing with the younger crowd that is awesome on social media. And the frustrating part is they're getting customers telling them that they'll do full details for $100, and you and I know the customer's not getting a full detail for $100. No. Not even close. Yeah. So that is the most frustrating part right now.
So what do you think, so we've talked about how the whole social media aspect is, and I'm learning more and more about it. Just started a YouTube channel. I'm going to start throwing the podcast on YouTube. We've talked about how social media end of it it's a skill in itself, right? That you and I are trying to learn. But what is a skill that over the years, what's a skill that you you thought you'd never master, but you become really good at?
Well, I hate doing interior details. I absolutely hate it. I don't like the feeling, although before and after is fantastic. I much rather wash, polish, and wax cars. It makes me feel better and nice and warm inside. Doing an interior, I'm not a fan of. So the skill that I learned was to focus more on appreciating on how to do interiors better, providing not only myself, but my crew with the proper tools. The latest tool that I absolutely love, and I've tried them all. I've done the Tornador. I've done hot water extractors. I've done steam machines. I've pretty much, and if there's something out there that the listeners are listening to and they're like, well, he does it all about this. But my latest and greatest is we've got a fantastic steam machine that we use, and these brushes that attach to a drill, these drill brushes that you like loosen up the dirt in the carpet, cup holders. Now I enjoy doing interiors because I've got like these tools that literally makes a world of difference. Helps with dog hair. It helps with dirt and sand when people go up north four-wheeling. So that was a skill that I kind of just I didn't really like it, so I wasn't doing it that well. But now that I've got all the proper tools and stuff, I think that was and also there's no wet sanding. I don't know if you offer color sanding to customers. No. I used to. I mean, the thought of putting sandpaper on your paint, I mean, it's like scratching your nails on a chalkboard. It just doesn't make sense. But the place trained me that I bought my trailer from. They trained me on how to do wet sanding, and that was a skill that I had no idea on how to do it. And now I do it, and we don't offer it. I don't train my guys on how to do it because people just don't stick around long enough to train them on how to do it.
Right.
But that's another skill is color sanding or wet sanding that I never knew how to do. And now I enjoy doing it, and I do it for customers every now and then. So interiors and color sanding.
Nice. What's a from on the that's the detailing side. On the business side, what do you think is a struggle?
Besides the social media, customers, love them. Without them, I would have no business. The frustrating part is, hey, I'm paying $400 for a full detail. And my guy, and it's hard for me. The frustrating part is I can't go and look at every single person's car to have a better idea of what's going on.
Right.
I try to get as much information on the phone. We have a calendar, and I put that in the notes. Hey, the lady said she has kids. It sounds, we call it kid hammered. It sounds like it's going to be kid hammered. Gum in the carpeting. I try to give my guys all the information I can. Sounds super nice on the phone. I explain to her, I set expectations, and I'll even put in sometimes too, like, this lady doesn't sound like she's going to be a nice lady, so you got to kind of kill them. And I don't mean to say lady because men can be jerks too.
Yeah, it's just the way. Yeah.
Yeah. But, I try to give, so it's the customer is after we're done, my guys, after I've set expectations on the phone, my guys aren't so good about that. Like, hey, I'm going to do my best with the stain. I'm going to do my best. They're not so good at it. They're just like, hey, here's your car. It's done. What do you think? Not so good. Then they call and complain. And, their biggest complaint is, well, I just spent $400. My car should look brand new. And I tell people, your car will never look brand new. Your car, what year's your car? My car's a 2012. Your car is going to look like a clean 2012 Honda Accord. That's what it's going to look like. So when somebody sends me a message saying, I want it to look brand new, I'm spending $400. This is great. My car's going to look brand new. I set expectations and say, no, it's going to look like a clean 2012. So business-wise, customers are very frustrating because, you try to set expectations. And granted, they are spending a lot of money. And I do tell people, you can give me $1 million. Your car is going to look exactly the same as if you gave me $400. We are detailers. I tell them this all the time. We're detailers. We're not magicians. And it all depends on how the car's been maintained. If you've just washed it once a year since 2012, well, the outcome's not going to be that good. It's going to be clean, but it's not getting, once again, you can give me $1 million, but it is what it is. So the business side, I would say, customers and employees trying to find, especially after the pandemic, people that want to work, people that take pride in their work, and that literally show up to work. Those are the two frustrating customers and employees are the two frustrating business.
You've been doing it a long time, and you've been around for a long time.
Sure.
And one of my questions is it's kind of just a goofy off the wall question, but from the business side of it, what's something that's not a write-off, but you wish it was? Is there anything that comes to mind? Just something.
Wish was a write-off. That is not. I mean, between me, you, I mean, you stumped me. You'll have to circle back to that one. Let me think.
And the reason why I'm asking you.
Can I ask you what is your answer?
I don't know. There's one of those things where somebody brought it up the other day in conversation. I thought, it's a weird question. And I thought, well, I'll ask somebody else just to see if somebody can come up with something that, because I think there's people using all kinds of things for business write-offs that maybe they shouldn't be, or maybe they, and I just thought it was kind of
a detailer. You can basically include you can include your sneakers because you use those for working on car. Like you can include everything. It's not necessarily an IRS or tax write-off. The frustrating part for me when I signed my lease with the place, because I don't own my building. This is kind of similar, but the frustrating thing for me is, and I should have thought this out, but when something breaks at my shop, like the garage door or the swamp cooler, I have to pay for it. So I can't take that with me when I leave. I can't take the garage door with me when I leave. I can't take the swamp cooler with me. Like the toilet broke the other day. It was like a $300 fix, and it's like, I can't take this toilet with me. But he showed me the lease and I signed everything saying it's my responsibility. So, if that sort of answers your question, that would be the only frustrating.
But that brings up a topic that I don't think people think about is things that are buried into a contract, or things that are, and I don't know, this was completely off the wall question. I apologize if I threw you off, but it was just one of those things where I wrote it down and I thought, I'm going to ask somebody, and I want to ask somebody with your experience, because it might be something that, you can help other people out with. But that's something to take into consideration too.
So my word of advice would be, because I've got, I'm really friendly with the people because I've been in my complex for a long time. I've seen a lot of people come and go. And I've talked to a lot of people that have signed new leases, and they've included that stuff in their lease. So my advice to somebody that is a detailer that's considering getting a shop, I would highly, highly read the contract and put in there, I'm not responsible for fixing the garage door. I'm not responsible for fixing anything that breaks the air conditioner, because it's expensive. It's really, and you can't take that stuff with you when you're gone. So that would be my advice to somebody if they're trying to get a shop, if they're mobile right now, would be to include that into there. And also, like parking spaces, we're all in my shop fighting for parking spots, where the newer people, they've got signs up with their business name, like assigned parking spot. So you got to kind of and now I think, I don't know, I haven't rented a commercial property since I've been there since like 2010 or something, but I think it's more of a renters, you can call the shots because they're looking for people to rent space. So maybe you can, throw that in there and see if they go for it. But that would be my thing to advice to people looking to get a shop. And the other great part about having a shop, and the hard part about this is another business frustration, is I would love to transfer all of my mobile business to a shop. I'd need a bigger shop, but in the summertime, because I've done it and my guys do it, it is miserable. When I'm saying it's 110, you're in the sun. Granted, we use RO water and we try to turn on their vehicles and have the AC blowing on us. But when you're in 110 degrees and you're trying to detail a car, if you're not somewhat in good health, you're going to pass out and drop dead in that driveway. So I would love to have a shop where everybody comes to me. I don't have guys all over the valley, and I can manage it easier because I just go to the shop. I see, Bill working on that car, Susie working on that car. Hey, we're having a problem with this. Instead, they're out and about. They forget to call me. So I would love to transition to do that. I just don't think I ever will be able to, because I'll lose business, because people are like, we love the fact that you come to us. And if you don't come to us, we'll find somebody else.
That convenient factor. People love the convenience.
They love it.
That was going to bring me to another question, is that from your perspective and for how long you've been doing it, would you rather be in a shop or be mobile? And
shop. I wish I started this business in a shop. And to transition from mobile to shop is very difficult. And I'd love to be able to afford like a storefront place where, and this is impossible because it's so expensive, but like you're in Walmart parking lot, or you're in a Target parking lot and you've got a storefront and you have foot traffic. I would love that. But to rent a space big enough to handle the cars would be, you'd have to charge $2,000 for details. And we're having an issue out here now is when people hear detailer or car wash, water. Where's the water? Where's all that water going? It's killing fish. It's killing whales, all that oil. And it's like, it's really not, but so water drainage is tough too. So then you'd have to get the reclamation mats. It just gets very expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was something else that, I was going to talk a little bit about is it just seems like sometimes the differences between, and it's just the cost of living, rent, everything seems to be more expensive on the East Coast or the West Coast. I don't know why, but in the Midwest, it's kind of like, we don't have, we're getting there. I think Ohio's getting there. But
what is a gallon of gas for you guys right now?
We're like at $2.60.
All right, we're like depending on where you go, $3 a gallon to about $3.20 a gallon. So
yeah, so
and that was hard too when gas prices were up near $5 a gallon. I'd have to tell my existing customers, like, listen, I hate to do this, but I need to raise my prices because, with gas going through the roof, I'm not making money. I don't make money on washes anyway. And some people have that hung in there. I totally understand. And some people are like, nope, gonna go somewhere else. So,
right.
Yeah. It is what it is.
So with that, let's kind of move forward with, you just talked a little bit about, maybe transitioning into the shop, but what do you think the future of Showcase is for you?
So I was just talking to Marcus because Marcus calls me all the time. He tells me he wants to buy my business because every time I talk to him, we commiserate and I complain. My goal would be, because as a detailer, it makes my skin crawl, but it's a necessary evil. I would love to be able to own these. These are popping up on every corner here in Arizona, and I don't know if they are where in your neck of the woods. There are these, you pay $12 a month, unlimited car wash, and you pull out, you pull around. They supply microfiber towels, an air gun, and free vacuums for the people that either get their car washed or you can just pull up to their vacuums and their air gun if you just want to vacuum and blow out your car. So I would love to kind of leave the detailing behind and transition to like one of these because they're a cash cow. Yeah. And the more you can tell people till they're blue in the face that these tunnel car washes are literally the worst things for your car. You can put your car through the worst. You should, like today it's raining, tomorrow I'll drive around the valley. There will be lines of people because they don't care. They just want their car clean. They just want it shiny and clean. And if it's $12, so be it. But my supplier owns probably like 10 of them. And the guy is literally loaded, and you just have to pay like literally two people. One guy that does this.
Yeah.
And then one guy that does this with the bug spray. Besides that, that's it. Obviously machines break and stuff like that. So it just seems like it runs itself and stuff. So, but realistically, I probably would like to graduate and just have a big shop where mobile is not my main thing. It would just be, we do details and people bring their cars to us. And I just don't have the worry and expense of having 3 mobile units going out because you're talking, you guys might get in a fender bender, them moving the cars in and out of the people's garage. Obviously that could happen at my shop, but just, I'd like to be able to have more control. I'd like to have a shop. So that's where I would like to see it going. Realistically, I think we're always just going to be just a mobile detailer with 3 to 5 vans. I can never imagine having a fleet of 20 vans because the quality would hit the quality would suck. And I think it would be next to impossible to find 20 people on a consistent basis that want to work Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday. Because we do have those businesses out here. One of them is called Wash My Car. It's a website that you just plug in, hey, wash my car. I see the vans driving all around town, and they're strictly mobile. And once again, that's more online stuff, but I can't imagine they're offering quality service to these people. So, but probably I think we're just going to maintain where we're at, maybe, 2 more vans possibly, but I'm getting longer in the tooth as well. And I'm trying to transition, obviously, my business to my stepson who wants to run it, but it has to make money sense for both him and I, enough to be able to pay me to retire and enough to pay him to make a living at.
Sure.
And we're just not there yet. So
Yeah.
that is my goal, is to not be, doing this forever. I'm 52. I mean, gosh, by the time I'm 60, I'd like to just not be worrying about if Bill's going to call out sick from work today. That would be fantastic.
Right.
Yeah.
I understand. Well, Scott, listen, it's been great getting to know you, getting to hear your story a little bit.
Sure.
Is there anything else that you want to share before we go?
No, I'm glad we finally met. I'm glad Jeff over at Shineworks posted on Facebook, like, hey, like this page, and I like this page, and I started talking to you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm glad we connected, and now I've got somebody else I can call and bitch and complain to. So I feel bad. I feel bad for you, bro. Sorry that you connected with me. It's
awesome.
It's going to be awesome. Complaint train all the time. Yeah.
Where can people find you?
Absolutely. So we have a website, showcasemobiledetailing.com. It lists out all our contact information. It lists out all our starting pricing. It lists out our story, how we started. You can find us on Yelp. We're on, we're highly rated on Yelp.com. Just type in Showcase Mobile Detailing. We'll pop up there. My email and phone number, 480-200-4506. You can call or text. All that information is basically on my website, showcasemobiledetailing.com.
Awesome. So if you don't mind, I'll probably try to put some links in the description below.
Yeah.
And that way, if people need to reach out to you, they can.
Yeah.
Scott, thank you so much for sharing your information, sharing your story. I think you're been around a long time, wealth of knowledge. And if people need you for anything, I hope they reach out. If you want to call and complain or bitch, let me know. Just
okay.
We'll talk about it later.
Get ready.
So thanks for being here today, and thanks for sharing your shine.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Appreciate it, man. Have a great day.
You too.